Hey, what's going on, guys? Once again, it's the chairman with another physical media update video for you guys. And this week, I got in a few interesting things, so I want to share that with you. So first of all, I got from the Amazon 3 for 2 sale that I mentioned. I got the following, and I think it's a pretty nice collection. I got Akira 4K from Funimation, and this one came out last year. Now, I'm not a much of a Japanese anime fan at all, but I figured this was available, and Akira is obviously one of the classics of the genre, so I figured I'd pick it up and check it out. And inside we have a book. Interestingly enough, actually it folds out this way, unlike most everyone else that folds out the long way. But yeah, it's got a lot of details in it. Interviews with the filmmakers. And inside, you got the box. You have the 4K Blu-ray, which this thing just popped out of the hinge. 4K Blu-ray. And you have the Blu-ray and the bonus Blu-ray. And then I also finally picked up Synapse's Suspiria, the classic from Dario Argento, not to be confused with the 2017 remake. And this was one that I always had on my radar, but it was always a little bit too expensive. It was like always in the $50 or $40 range, and now with the 3 for 2, it's down to like $22, more or less. So I've been looking forward to seeing how good this 4K is. Everyone raves about it. It was definitely Don May's passion project. So here you have the inside. There's no book. It's just the regular Synapse catalog that comes with everything. And you got the 4K and a special features Blu-ray. So it is 4K only for the film. Just in case. And then this is also, I believe, came out last year, Arrow's edition of Douglas Trumbull's sci-fi classic, Silent Running, starring Bruce Dern. And then inside you have the book and you have the reversible sleeve with the original classic artwork, or as I should say, the one sheet, the poster. And then I got from Zabby, also from Arrow's recent 4K release of Oldboy, and figured I always want to check it out. I'm not also super into Korean cinema, but I figured I'd check out Oldboy, as is obviously a classic of the Korean cinema genre, if you want to call it that as a genre. So I'll give that a look. And this is a you got disc 1, which is the 4K, and then you have the disc 2, which is the what do they call it? It's called Old Days. It has the Old Days and Oldboy story, the acclaimed feature-length 2016 documentary about Park Chan-wook's masterpiece. And nice booklet inside. last but definitely not least when it comes to 4K is this baby. Fresh off the presses from Vinegar Syndrome, purported to be the very first 4K Blu-ray 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray disc of an adult film, and it will be Sexworld, 1977 parody of Westworld, where it's a luxury resort advertised as the ultimate sex-themed getaway where any and every fantasy, no matter how outrageous, can be brought to life following the arrival of a fresh busload of guests. It becomes apparent that the attendees are in store for much more than a single weekend of debauched and hedonistic pleasures. So basically, it's kind of like Westworld, where the guests go and meet up with android sex partners, I guess, if you want to call it that. It's kind of not unlike what happens in the Westworld of the TV show, but they just don't come out right and say that's what happens, but we all know it does. And so, as is usual with Vinegar Syndrome, they do a great job. This is the CD of the soundtrack, although I don't know why I'd ever listen to it. You have the Blu-ray and the 4K. And as is usual, they have a reversible cover. And you might be able to tell, but that's an embossed label. Embossed O-ring, and it's a nice thicker paper, typical of Vinegar Syndrome, the same as they did with the Beastmaster. So in terms of vinyl, this is what I got in, also from the Amazon 3 for 2 sale. So this was Kisses Dressed to Kill, and this is the one that Rock and Roll All Night came out on. Unfortunately, the studio version of Rock and Roll All Night does not feature the Ace Frehley solo that is later featured on Alive, and has pretty much become the de facto version of Rock and Roll All Night. So you only ever hear the sololess version if you hear it on the radio. But this one is from I believe it's from 1975, I want to say. And the songs are Room Service, Two Timer, Ladies in Waiting, Getaway, Rock Bottom on side 1, side 2 is Come On and Love Me, Anything for My Baby, She, Love Her All I Can, and finale being Rock and Roll All Night. And then also got Stones, Black and Blue. And then also with that, I got the, like I mentioned before, the Rush Moving Pictures, which I'm going to return. I'm going to return the one that I got in, but I'm going to return it with the first order that I got. So, like I said, I'll end up saving about $7, essentially. So, I haven't done it since the holiday season, but yeah, it doesn't happen too often now because the return windows are much shorter. So the only time that this could probably happen is if something all of a sudden goes way on sale, or if it comes up in one of these 3 for 2 deals, so that of course you're going to get it. You're going to get a discount because of that. And about the only thing with the 3 for 2s is that if you're going to do that, I would recommend that don't do it unless there's at least 2 things that you really want that you were going to get, even if it wasn't for 3 for 2, because otherwise you end up getting stuff that you kind of regret because you didn't really want to get it, but you needed to get at least 1 or 2 things to get the thing you did want for off, and then you end up paying more. And I fall into this trap a lot, and I guess that's why they do it, is to get you to buy more than you were wanting to. So I'll be very careful in taking advantage of some of these like 3 for 20 or 3 for 10 deal or buy 3 for 2 deals, because you definitely want at least 3 start two things that you for sure want, and the other one is like, well, because it's in the sale, I'll get it anyway. And then you don't feel so bad about paying that money. And the other thing definitely is that you always want to get for the 3 for 2s, you always want to get things that are close in price to each other. So you don't want something that's way more expensive and something that's way less expensive than the other two, because they always give you the least expensive thing for free. So you don't want that least expensive thing to be like, $5-10 less than the other two, because then you're getting much less of a discount on the two that you are paying for. You want to make sure they're the same, so that you pretty much get the same off on all of them, because the discount price is based off of the regular price of your least expensive item. So I mean, it should be obvious, but just wanted to throw that out as a bit of advice in case you are considering taking advantage of some of these multiple item deals. So hope that helped, and I'll give you guys a update on reviews on these items. The one thing I did finish watching was Body Double. Finally got around to watching it from Indicator, and I gotta say I wasn't super into it. It was really weird. It was like Brian De Palma, definitely being Brian De Palma, kind of mashing up Vertigo and Rear Window, because you had elements of the obviously the voyeurism, the one girl pretending to be the other girl, and also the protagonist having a phobia. So in the case of Jimmy Stewart, he had fear of heights. In the case of this guy Jake, he was claustrophobic. But it kind of put me off in that it was a very obviously theatrical film, in the sense that it was very obvious that you're watching a movie. And I guess that was the point, but it still kind of came off weird, especially like when Jake goes in and he goes in, auditions in for an adult film so that he can be with Holly Body, and it turns into like a Frankie Goes to Hollywood music video. I mean, that was kind of weird. But yeah, so it was a very 80s film. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that I haven't watched it before, but yeah, it wasn't. It didn't really do it for me. So I'm in the middle of watching Cat People now. I'm actually really surprised that my parents had let me watch this film, I guess back when I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. I don't remember if it was on TV or if you rented it on VHS, but yeah, it's looking pretty interesting. It's a Paul Schrader film. I didn't even realize it was a Paul Schrader film until like recently, but I could definitely see how it fits into his filmography. It's definitely a much more horror-centric film than he's done before. So I'll be interested. I'll be looking to see if there's any like Schraderisms in the film. I already know one thing is that Ed Begley Jr. is in there, and he was in Hardcore. He had a bit role in Hardcore, which is also directed by Paul Schrader, of course. So I'll let you guys know about that after I'm done, and after I'm done watching it. And so that's it, and talk to you later.